Pixel 9 is launched a couple of months earlier than usual this year, and the question is whether it is worth the upgrade from Pixel 8 or Pixel 7. On paper, Pixel 9 has a larger battery, a new design, a new G4 processor, and a new better ultra-wide camera. I'm gonna put all of these into test, and particularly I will run multiple tests to see if Tensor G4 is finally efficient enough or does it still get warm and drains battery. I'm a scientist, and like always, I bought these three phones with my own money. I'm not part of Team Pixel or Team Google. There is no string attached with Google or any other phone manufacturer, and that's why my reviews are very unbiased. It is kind of obvious they didn't initially plan to launch Pixel 9 lineup in August for two reasons. For one, Pixel 9 is launched with Android 14 instead of Android 15, and for two, Pixel 9 Pro, which a lot of you are interested in, is gonna be launched in mid-September. That's why in this review, I'm gonna use Pixel 9 instead of Pixel 9 Pro, which has a telephoto camera and an LTPO screen compared to the base model. Pixel 9 used in this review is color porcelain, and Pixel 8 and Pixel 7 are black. The first noticeable difference between Pixel 9 and the last two generations is the fingerprint scanner, which is ultrasonic and not optical. It is such an important upgrade in my opinion, and having an optical fingerprint scanner just makes the phone feel cheap. So we are all happy they finally did the upgrade. It's also more precise than the Pixel 7 and Pixel 8 in my opinion, and I didn't face any issues so far. The design of the frame is also different. There is much less curvature compared to Pixel 8 and Pixel 7, and when I got the phone, it instantly reminded me of iPhone 15 and Samsung S24 frame design. The camera bump also changed and is more tucked into the frame compared to the last generations. I know the Pixel gets a lot of hate for the camera bump, but it's my favorite camera bump because it makes the phone stable and not wobbling when it's on the floor. Nevertheless, it's gonna gather dust like always on the corners, so maybe avoid the black version which shows dust even more. That's why I went for porcelain on this generation. The display is also brighter. Pixel 7 max brightness is 1000 nits, Pixel 8 is 1400, and Pixel 9 is 1800. Pixel 7 and Pixel 9 both are 6.3 inches display, but Pixel 8 is actually 6.2 inches. Pixel 9 also has a smaller bezels, which makes it smaller than Pixel 7, but it's still bigger than Pixel 8. Also, funny thing is that Pixel 9 is 10 grams heavier than Pixel 8, so it's heavier than both Pixel 8 and Pixel 7. The other interesting thing, which is not that important but worth mentioning, is Pixel 8 has a bigger pixel density compared to Pixel 8 and also 9 Pro because of a smaller screen. But it's not a big difference. Size-wise, if you put them next to each other, you will notice the Pixel 9 is bigger than Pixel 8, but just slightly. It is noticeable if you put them next to each other, but they are both rather compact for a flagship phone. When it comes to cameras, Pixel 9 got a pretty huge bump in the ultra-wide. The sensor is now f1.7, and also the sensor size is bigger, which means more light comes into the camera, which helps you take better photos in low light and also have a better bokeh, which is basically depth of field. Based on my initial test, the ultra-wide camera is in fact better. Here you can take a look at the snap that I took, but I'll do a deep dive into that in another video. Also, it seems like the minimum focus distance is better on Pixel 9. The main camera is pretty much the same as Pixel 8 and Pixel 7. The sensor size stays the same, and I don't think there are any surprises when it comes to the quality. I took some quick snaps of my alpine strawberries, and as I thought during daytime, there wasn't much of a visible difference between the three. I also took some photos at night because having more light coming into the camera usually results in better pictures at night and low light situations like indoors. I took this photo with the ultra wide camera, and as you can clearly see, the photo taken by Pixel 9 is much better. With more details compared to Pixel 8 and Pixel 7, the exposure on Pixel 8 is a bit lower compared to Pixel 9 and 7. It is not necessarily a bad thing, and the phone just processes the photo slightly differently. If we zoom in on the back, we again see that Pixel 9 photo has more details and is more clear compared to the other two because of the sensor size. Even though software support is there, it doesn't always mean you get the latest AI stuff or software features on old Pixels. For example, at least I still didn't get some AI stuff on Pixel 7 for picture enhancement. On Pixel 9, there is this reimagine feature that I believe should be in Pixel 8 too at some point, where you can change an item in your picture to something else, and we saw a similar thing on Galaxy Z Fold this year. Another feature it has is satellite SOS service. I think it is only gonna work in the US and some selected countries. It supposedly also connects to the Garmin ecosystem. I could not find any information online on whether it comes to Austria or not. All Pixel 9 series are launched with Tensor G4, which is supposedly a better version of G3 and G2 on Pixel 8 and 7, but it is still produced in Samsung Foundry, so it won't be as efficient as Snapdragon from Qualcomm. I did several tests to see how it is performing. I started with the battery test. Pixel 9 has a slight battery boost and is running 4700 mAh. As a side note, as I mentioned, the Pixel 9 base model does not have the LTPO screen, unlike the Pixel 9 Pro, and in this regard, it is more like Pixel 8 and is running constantly on 120Hz. Pixel 7 is running 90Hz, and that will help to conserve battery a bit better. Starting with the battery test, first of all, like always, I'm running the app that I wrote to measure temperature and also power used. Also, I made sure that they are running on the same brightness. The thing is here, Pixel 8 is 4 months old and Pixel 7 is more than a year old, and even though I rarely use either of them, the battery probably degraded a bit. So the number that we are more interested in is more the power consumption in the unit of watts. I run two tests. For one, I'm running YouTube for an hour on 5G to see how much battery each of them is using. I run YouTube on 7020p for all three phones connected to the same 5G network. Also, I already rebooted all three of them, so they start in a similar condition. It is summer out there and ambient temperature is around 30 degrees Celsius, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. After 2 hours of running YouTube, Pixel 7 got to 38 degrees, which is 100 Fahrenheit. Pixel 8 got to almost 40, which is 104 Fahrenheit, and Pixel 9 got to 35 degrees Celsius, which is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. It was super interesting to see that Pixel 9 was so much cooler than Pixel 8 and Pixel 7, so obviously they did something right with Pixel 9, probably as they claim the modem is better than previous generations because it is the base model, so it doesn't have the cooling chamber and LTPO. The battery percentage is 90 for Pixel 7, 86 for Pixel 8, and 93 for Pixel 9, but as I said, it's not about the battery percentage in this test, but rather the average power consumption. For that, the average power consumption for Pixel 7 was 2 watts, for Pixel 8 was 2.2 watts, and for Pixel 9 was 1.7 watts. So Pixel 8 used 30% more power compared to Pixel 8, which leads to a higher battery temperature and also battery drain. Of course, more tests needs to be done, but from this single instance, it seems they fixed some of the heating issues to an extent compared to Pixel 8, which is great news. Then I ran AnTuTu test on Wi-Fi. AnTuTu is a benchmark that measures GPU, CPU memory, and other elements of the phone and gives a generic score. To my surprise, Pixel 9 with Tensor G4 did not score much higher than Pixel 8 and Pixel 7. It seems in the last two generations, Pixel did not really work on the performance of the chipset and was a bit distracted by AI stuff. I do get it, even phones from 2 years ago are pretty good performance-wise, but compared to other flagships like Exynos 2400 or Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, the Tensor performance is really behind. You most likely won't experience lagging in productivity and daily tasks, but if you want to do heavier stuff like multitasking or playing games, you will definitely notice it. Basically, the performance of Pixel 9 is on par with a mid-range phone like A55 rather than a flagship. The final result is 800,079K for Pixel 7, 896K for Pixel 8, and 1 million for Pixel 9. You may get different scores based on the conditions you are running the test under. Then I ran the 3D benchmark to test the GPU performance of the three phones for graphics, which mainly would affect in gaming and a bit processing of images and videos. This also serves as a stress test to see whether the phone will have frame drops. Pixel 9 had a much better performance compared to Pixel 8 and 7, both in terms of raw performance in the beginning of the test and also after it is stressed. Also, Pixel 9 did not have significant frame drops similar to Pixel 8, while Pixel 7 had significant frame drops on 3 occasions. For the last part of the test, I ran Google Meet on all three phones on Wi-Fi for 30 minutes to see how it performed, and Pixel 9 again did a better job and stayed cooler compared to Pixel 7 and Pixel 8. The max temperature was 38 degrees Celsius, which is 100 Fahrenheit, while Pixel 8 reached 41 degrees Celsius, which is 105 Fahrenheit. And Pixel 7 reached 38.5 degrees, which is 101 Fahrenheit. By the end of all of these tests that I've done, Pixel 9 has 59%, Pixel 8 has 46%, and Pixel 7 has 53% battery left. So when I was editing the video, I forgot to turn off the video call, and right now the Pixel 9 has 44% battery left, Pixel 8 has 26% battery left, and Pixel 7 has 34% battery left. So yes, it really seems like Pixel 9 is much better. And even though they are like sitting here doing nothing, basically absolutely nothing, Pixel 9 is 30 degrees Celsius, while Pixel 8 is 33 degrees Celsius. So there is last thing that I forgot to mention. On the application that I wrote, there is a signal strength that measures the signal from 1 to 4. Right now, Pixel 9 is at 3, Pixel 8 is at 1, and also Pixel 7 is at 1. So it is 1 out of 4 for Pixel 7 and 8, and 3 out of 4 for Pixel 9. And this is something that I also experienced throughout the whole couple of days that I have the phone, that Pixel 9 always have a better signal compared to Pixel 7 and 8. So it seems like the Google claim that Pixel 9 have a new modem is true. That said, it is still not Qualcomm, so I would say maybe it is on par with S24 Exynos. I'm not 100% sure that they can compete with Qualcomm because all the fiasco of Qualcomm and the modem that they have and all the patents that they have. It seems like Pixel 9 is into something, so it seems like they fixed few issues. They fixed the battery life to an extent. They fixed also the heat dissipation, and also they fixed the power efficiency. If it is up to me, I will probably go for Pixel 9 Pro because it has a better heat dissipation because of a vapor chamber. It also has a third camera and it also has a LTPO display. So it probably is much better compared to Pixel 9, and it's probably on the class of iPhone 15 or S24. That said, I have to do more tests. Stay tuned, subscribe. I'm going to do Pixel 9 versus S24, and whenever the video is ready, I'm going to publish it right here. But for now, you can also watch Pixel 8 versus iPhone 15 video. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!